Good morning, good morning. It's Elizabeth Eleanor with Pause. How are you today? I'd love for you to say hi in the comments. And if you are watching the replay, please put hashtag replay and let us know so we can come in and say hi to you. Because life is all about connection, right? And we, as conscious creators and women, magical women, want to have conscious relationships. And part of having conscious relationships means being conscious and aware of what's going on in our world, how we're behaving, how we're responding, what we're reacting to. All of the things have to do with what's going on in here, in our identity, so that we can elevate to that higher, more magical timeline that gives us access to all that we desire, all of the light that we want in our body, all of the blessings, all of the magic, all the miracles, all the things that make living on this planet worthwhile, right? Because there's so much available to us, and yet we get stuck in the illusion. We get stuck in the dread. We get stuck doom scrolling and watching what's going on overseas and things that actually don't really relate to us in our present moment, that are designed to actually draw us into a lower vibration and a level and frequency that holds us stuck in lack and fear, and withdraws us from our light, from our ability to create this amazing life, regardless of what's going on out there in the world. So that's what we're doing here in Magical Women, in Awakening Magical Women, is we're supporting each other to elevate to that new frequency, to elevate to that higher potential, to have relationships that are full of joy and abundance and connection, gratitude, appreciation, fulfillment, all of that yummy stuff that makes us feel so good, right? And so how do we access that? First of all, let's take a moment to pause. Let's take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. The very fact that you pause means that you're not reacting. It gives your body the opportunity to reconnect with your light, reconnect with your higher self. Hey, Irene. It gives you the opportunity to have a little bit of space, right? Because our identity wants to take over the show, wants to be the one that gives all, has control, gives all the credit, is being validated, all of those things. And yet, when we can pause, we give ourselves that opportunity to connect with our higher self instead, with our identity that is our intuition, our wisdom, our what I call superconscious, right? So when it comes to intimacy in relationships and having space for that, is becoming aware of the space here first, is really connecting in with yourself so that you have the space and the capacity to love yourself. Because as soon as you have someone else in your life, the potential to use them as your crutch and use them as your source of energy is really high, because the identity then wants to be validated and loved and externalize our emotions through the relationship. And that when you do that, that causes a rift, and it causes the separation, because no one can keep up with that. So you've got to find the space within the emotional capacity to hold intimacy with yourself and your feelings first before you go and connect with somebody. You want to clean that stuff up, right? If you're looking for your divine partner, if you're wanting to attract the love of your life, and stop yo-yoing from relationship to relationship, or staying in a relationship that you're settling for that's not fulfilling, that's not filling your cup, then you've got to clean yourself up first. You've got to really look internally, and what is it that I need to correct? What are some of the behaviors? What are some of the emotions, the events that are holding me stuck in patterns from, my childhood, or a previous relationship, or a present relationship? What are those things that are holding me back that I need to clean up in my energy field, so that I am elevating at a certain frequency? I'm holding the space and living in the timeline where my magic is over here and I can connect with it. So I want you to ask yourself, what do I need to connect to and clean up in my own energy field? Questions are really important, because when you ask yourself the questions, it creates a gap in the universe, a void, and the universe, in its very essence, in its very nature, fills the void, right? And so a question warrants a result, warrants an answer. And your soul knows. Your soul knows what the answer is to holding the capacity to live in a beautiful, sacred, intimate relationship. So let's go over some of the things that could be holding you back from experiencing that. The first one is the emotional clutter, right? If you've got stuff from a previous relationship, like old wounds, things that are like limiting beliefs about love and how worthy you are of this ultimate relationship, this breath of fresh air, this connection with someone that's in a divine, magical moment, then those things need to be cleaned up and resolved before you can allow, because that's holding you into a frequency, right? Like, everything is about energy. And so if you've got wounds or limiting beliefs about love, and you've got this unresolved pain, that's holding a particular frequency that is lowering your vibration. And that wound is on a different timeline than the love of your life. It's in a different realm altogether. And so as you let go of those wounds, as you clean that emotional clutter up, as you step into really connecting with you and your higher self more, the more you can access those moments, right? And if you're new to this page, you may not have heard, these are the things that I did in my relationships. I cleaned up the emotional clutter. I cleaned up the energy. And sometimes it can be really subtle. Like, when one of the things I teach my clients in conscious creation, conscious creator circle, when you're first out on this spiritual journey, you're in this boat and you're traveling down the river, and you can see the big holes, right? You can see the big holes in the boat, and you can, patch them up and fix them and create a new boat, right? But the longer you're on this journey, sometimes they're really tiny little subtle shifts. They're like these little quark. Like, if you're into science, you'll know that, they're this little quantum particle, or even worse, they're or not worse, even smaller. They're a string, right? They're a string, the smallest of the smallest that we've had the ability to experience yet. And so that's for all my science buffs. Everyone else might be trying to work out what I'm talking about. When I first was cleaning up the emotional energy, it was pretty big stuff, right? It was like, I don't feel good enough. I don't feel capable. I don't think there's anyone out there. I felt different and weird and vulnerable because I didn't fit into society. And so, all those limitations, all those things that your identity tells you, all the stuff that your little Elizabeth used to say, like the little part of you that says it'll never happen for you. It happens for other people, but it'll never happen for you. You're not good enough to hold a relationship for a long time. You only deserve these type of relationships. I was in relationships that would put me down, but in a way that was joking, right? Like, I'm just joking, like you take everything to heart, right? And so gaslighting in a way, so that I felt like there was something wrong with me. And it takes a pretty strong, empowered woman to start listening to herself and start going, I don't know if that's true or not, but even if it's not true, even if it is true, I don't deserve the relationship I'm having. And to step away from that and decide to be by yourself instead, rather than in a toxic relationship. It's a pretty hard call, right? So those sort of things need to be cleaned up before you can step into, into another level, into another area, where you are in that place where there is potential for someone that might see my light, that might see my weird and quirky ways and think that they're really cute and love them instead, right? These things need to be cleaned up. And then as you go along, there's these little things. You start meeting partners that sort of seem like everything's good, and maybe this is the one or whatever, right? And then something comes up and you see the same pattern again, not as bad, not as aggressive, not as frequent, but it's still there. And then you have the ability and the opportunity to pull that out and go, is this a behavior that I'm able to consider and deal with? Or is this a behavior that is a boundary for me and I'm not prepared to have it? So, one of the last people that I dated before I met Tim was a guy that everything seemed to be okay, but there was these little tiny things that didn't feel right, is the best way to put it. Just didn't feel right. It was things that I thought, could I put up with this, or could I handle this behavior for a long period of time? And if you get a no, then you need to listen to that, right? There was a few little things, like he would walk really fast in front of me and not hold my hand or anything like that. It was almost like we were in a rush all the time, and that was really interesting. It was something I noted. And then we had a discussion about I had a double belief about whether I wanted to be at someone special in someone's life, or whether I was prepared to allow him, um, or my partner, whoever my partner was going to be, to have relationships with other women, right? In an intimate way, not necessarily sexual, but very intimate relationship rather than just a friendship, right? I have no problem with friendships. I had to look at what my beliefs were and clean that energy up and those emotions so that I was able to hold the right frequency. And I did, because I decided not to be in that relationship. And the next relationship was walking down the beach. I was the only one there, I thought, and this guy walks past, and lo and behold, we start talking. He lives, adjacent to me in a street near mine. We've got all these things in common, and here he is. My maiden name's Payne, and his last name is Makepeace, and we just get on really well. And in 2 days' time, it will be 3 years since that time we met at the beach. And so we haven't had any major arguments. It's the most amazing relationship I've had in my whole life. And it was because the magic of cleaning up the emotions and the clutter and the beliefs and the wounding and the things that were holding me back, cleaning that up first and getting to the place where I felt comfortable and had self-love and was prepared to be by myself rather than be in a relationship that would make me feel less than again, would make me feel lack, make me feel undeserving. I was prepared to stay by myself rather than be in a relationship that I was settling for. And that's why I met Tim. I met Tim because I was at the frequency that was, and he obviously was too, for us to actually meet in that moment. So it's all about cleaning up the old patterns, letting go of the things that aren't serving you, or you're just going to keep getting the same type of partner cycle over and over again. The other part of this is really taking ownership of your values, really deeply acknowledging, this is what I believe in, this is what I stand for, this is what I stand against, and being comfortable with speaking that truth, right? The more you can be a whole person, and, unfortunately, we live in a society where there is a lot of sameness. People trying to fit in. People trying to live in the status quo of normal, right? We have this ideal of being an individual. However, even in that individuality, there's still this, I'm being quirky, but I'm being it in the realm of what's acceptable in society, right? I'm doing it in this construct of the matrix so that I know that I'm valid and valuable, and no one's going to see me as outside the box. I'm going to be, I'm going to conform in an unconventional way. I'm going to conform still, right? And we need less of that, ladies. We need more strong, powerful women explaining that this is who they are and this is what they stand for, and they stand against this, and this, right? Actually speaking up, and really, this is the deep work, because the whole conformity of society actually supports us not to even go deep within. We don't get the time. We doom scroll. We distract ourselves with cooking and cleaning and partying with our friends and drinking and smoking and whatever else is going on, right? Like, we are distracted in life all the time, where we don't even give ourselves the opportunity to be intimate with ourselves, to really deeply understand what feels right for me and what do I stand for and what do I stand against. You know, social media is changing, and there's restrictions that have been lifted, and so I've noticed a difference in my algorithm already, right? I've noticed that the same posts come over and over again, where people are sharing on a regular basis more than it used to be. I've noticed various things, way more sponsored ads and all of those things, right? So all of these things that are keeping us limited. Now, I saw a person that I know in my personal life put up a post a couple of days ago that I disagreed with, right? She was stating a fact that she thought that this is the way life should be, and I disagreed with it. And so I stated it. I thought, let's play here and see what the algorithm does. And I actually said, I totally disagree with you, right? And so she commented back. I'm not going to share the experience because, you know, it's not even relevant. But she shared her comment back and expressed why she believed that this is the way it should be. And there was something in that made me go, okay, let's see if I can open her eyes to a different view of this, right? So I commented again, and then I said, this is just my opinion. And then she commented back, and the whole comment was a long comment, and all you could see was her wounding, because she had a particular experience several times with this particular culture, race, and you could see that she had called in a lot of wounding around these particular peoples, and so therefore it didn't matter what I said, she was going to be stuck in that. So instead of then arguing with her, I let it be. I just let it be, because I knew that she was wounded and she was not prepared to look at the wounding or to understand where I was coming from. She just wanted to express her pain on social media, and that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to argue and fight. But what I did was I expressed myself. I expressed my opinion, knowing it was on social media, knowing that it was here for all to see, and that maybe other people were going to stand against it, right? It's a form of self-sovereignty. It's a form of being empowered and allowing yourself to be the individual, even if that means you will not be liked, right? And it's important, ladies, to recognize the people-pleasing attributes that we have from our childhood that hold those people, that feeling of being neglected, rejected, you know, punished in some way, that runs deep in women. And so when you want certain qualities in a relationship, holding that frequency, you've got to look at who you're being now, and are you a vibrational match for that energy? Because if you're saying, I want a relationship that's full of connection and authenticity and transparency and vulnerability and deep soul connection, then you've got to ask yourself, am I being that now? Am I holding that truth for me now? Where can I clean that up? Where am I still being unauthentic myself? Where am I not being transparent with myself? Where am I holding wounds where I'm allowing people to treat me less than, and not just in an intimate relationship, but at work, in your social circles, with your parents, with your children. These things, if you're holding on to relationships and letting people walk over you in one way or another, it's affecting you meeting your divine partner right now. Because that person may be there waiting for you, and you're on a lower vibration, on a lower frequency, on a different timeline, and you're not matching. And they could be with somebody else right now because you are not the vibrational match yet. And so this is all about really deeply getting to know yourself, rewriting your story, and really coming to that space of, who am I underneath all of this, and who am I prepared to be to really step into my magic, to really connect in with my higher self, to really live my soul's path. Who am I being, and who am I becoming? And am I prepared to live a mediocre, muggle world life where everything just, smells the same, looks the same? I'm fitting in with society, and I'm buying the clothes that society thinks that look, they're the latest trend, and having the latest iPhone and whatever it is, right? If I'm doing it to externalize my experience, then I'm doing it for the wrong reasons. If I'm doing it because it makes me feel good and I know that that's a connection to my higher self, that's a different story. But when I'm doing it to get validated external to myself, then there is no intimate relationship inside. And so therefore the intimate relationship that you're looking to match with, is you're not a match, right? It's about really discovering yourself first. So creating that internally, right? Aligning with your values, really discovering your self-love, raising your energetic vibration, right? Understanding the type of relationship you want, and looking at the relationships that you've got right now in your energy, in your physical experience, and seeing what needs to shift. What do I have to correct in the relationships I've got around me that needs addressing, so that I can step into the timeline where my match is, and I move into this beautiful, magical relationship. These are the things, these are the questions to ask and to reflect, and to pause for a moment, and to really start journaling and pulling apart and looking what's underneath all of this. Where is the opportunity for growth? Now, here in Awakening Magical Women, Choosing Conscious Relationships, this Facebook group, as I was saying before, there's a lot of noise out there in social media land, and there has been for a long time, and it's just about to get even noisier. And so here in this group, this year in particular, we're ready to elevate and to ascend and to rise above all of that. And how do you do that when there's so much noise? What we want to do is we want to flood so much value, so much magic, so much higher vibrational energy into this group that is giving you the opportunity to elevate above the noise, to unplug from the conditioning that's trying to hold you in those lower frequencies. So what we're doing is everyone everyone's been allowed to all this time, but what we want to encourage is for you to start posting in here on a regular basis, posting your wins when you have a connection with someone down the street, or you have a moment with your child where there was a connection, or you stood up for yourself against someone that you hadn't stood up before and you spoke a truth. Whatever it might be, it might even be that you have just, someone put in here about a beautiful swing that they've found in their neighborhood, that every time they go past, they swing on this swing and a child comes out, right? And so she put a post in here of her, of the swing. Anything that's going to elevate us to bring out more and more of our light, that's what this Facebook group is all about. So I want you to post in here. I'm really encouraging you, not for me, and really not even for you. This is to create this collective energy, this energy in here of raising our vibration so that we can accept and access our magic on a regular daily basis. So elevate. So when you know we've got 1,500 people in here, 1,500 women in this group that has the opportunity for you to support them, to raise their frequency. They might be having a bad day that day, and your post is going to be exactly what they need, because they're going through the same thing, and they can see the result that you've just got. So the more we can elevate this group, we can rise above the noise, right? So together we rise, together we ascend, and together we create. So I really encourage you to move into a place of, posting in here, allowing and supporting all of us magical women to share in your connections, share in your wins, share in your results, share in your higher frequency. We also have this month, our monthly mixer is Rewrite Your Wonderland, where we're going to do a powerful shamanic process to clear anything getting in the way and to really step into your higher self wisdom, so that you're aligning with your soul's path and you can find out what your year is all about. And so we can look at focusing on connecting with that higher part of yourself and not being in the overwhelm that life and the distractions that life offer us, but stepping into getting the results that we really know we're here for this year in particular. So take care, enjoy all the magical things, and I will catch you in I will see you next Tuesday.